Hi, I'm Nicolette.
And I'm Sean.
And welcome to the Graveyard Shhift.
In this podcast, we talk about true crime mysteries and the paranormal.
This is where we dig up new dirt on old stories that you may or may not have heard before.
We try to gather as many facts as possible and then put our own spin on what may have happened.
We don't gather all the facts, just enough to tell the story.
So if we've missed something important, let us know.
But don't be a dick about it. And please, keep your private detectiveness to yourself.
Other than that, kick back, relax, and welcome to the Graveyard Shhift.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hey, everybody.
All right, welcome to the show.
How you been, Sean?
I've been pretty good. But I've been working hard,
Yeah.
Nicolette. Working hard.
Me too.
Could use a vacation. Have you taken vacation anytime recently?
Just for like a split weekend. That's
Yeah.
about it. Just,
Yeah, I'm ready for something.
Flying
I
up
need a
north.
vacation, but I was looking up hotels to travel to around at least around this country.
But whereabouts exactly?
Well, you know what? I was looking up hotels and I came upon the list of the most haunted hotels in the U.S. And I was thinking, maybe I'll head out to Florida. I'm not a big fan of Florida. Simple truth, honesty, full disclosure. I'm not a big fan of Florida. I used to go to Florida every summer with my family.
Okay.
For summer vacation.
Sure.
Yeah, and I had good memories there, but over time I kind of grew a little bit of a distaste for Florida. But I have never been to Cedar Key, Florida.
Really?
And
I have not.
Have you been to Cedar Key?
No,
Do you know any? Yeah.
No, I've been to Kissimmee.
Okay.
I don't.
Cool.
How do you say it? Let us know.
Florida.
Kissy me. That's how we always used to say kissy me.
Yeah, kissing me.
Because it's cute.
Did you like it? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I liked Kissimmee.
Yeah.
I liked Orlando.
Yeah,
but
Orlando.
Then again, it was, Disney World,
Yeah.
MGM,
Yeah.
Universal, stuff like that. That was
Right.
like the only place where my parents would let us run rampant by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the oldest of the three kids. I'm 12, and my brothers are like 10 and then 9. And we all got to go by ourselves,
Yes.
to go-
That's awesome.
wreak havoc on the parks, and that was the most fun.
Yeah, I remember having a good time, having actually some fun times. I don't know, maybe, all right, I apologize, Florida. I like you again.
We
now.
like you.
Yes, and I certainly have to say I've never been to Cedar Key, Florida, but I'm looking up hotels, thinking about vacations, and looking up Cedar Key, Florida is apparently home to one of the most haunted hotels in the U.S. Have you
Tell
heard
me
about this
about
place?
it. No.
Okay, all right.
I'm so excited.
The Island Hotel and Restaurant, right? Cedar Key, Florida, little barrier reef off the coast of Florida.
Okay, very nice.
I was looking around; it looks beautiful. It actually looks like a nice place to be.
Cool.
Little, almost
Is it-
island getaway. Kind
Okay,
of.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tropical.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Nice,
And then,
okay.
the Island Hotel and Restaurant, it is on 2nd Street in Cedar Key, Florida, and it is truly one of the most famous bed and breakfasts in all of Florida.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it is also listed in the National Register of Historic Places.
Really?
So, and that is, beyond all of the stories that we'll get into about this place being haunted, it has, the place itself just holds a lot of history.
Okay. So like what?
Okay. Well, the building was constructed way back in 1859.
Oh, okay.
1859, and
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yes, and it's been through a lot. Been through several owners, been through a lot of history. But it was constructed with 12-inch thick walls, and these 12-inch thick walls have withstood all of the countless storms and hurricanes that are, you're familiar in the region.
And there are a lot of them in Florida.
Oh,
So I can imagine that they would have to have super thick walls in order to
Exactly.
endure that kind of pressure.
The roof has actually blown off a couple of times.
No
but
way.
But the walls have stayed intact, and they've replaced the roof. And
That's
there
amazing.
are a lot of beautiful rooms in there. I was checking out pictures of the rooms. It really looks like a nice place to stay.
Cool.
But so this building was originally built back in 1859, and it was originally built as a general store, and it very little has changed over the years. But after a while, a small bar was added to the ground floor.
Okay.
And now this bar, it was they had an artist, really famous artist, name's escaping me at this moment, but this famous artist painted a mural on the ground floor, the mural on the wall of this bar.
Okay.
And the mural had a large picture of King Neptune.
Oh,
Are you
we'll
familiar
have to put it up right
yeah,
here.
exactly. If there's boys in the
here it
truck,
is.
let's put up the picture of King Neptune. And so his King Neptune is displayed prominentely behind this in the mural on this bar, and it has now.
I love King Neptune, by the way.
Oh,
He's
very nice.
Neptune, Poseidon.
It's the
Yeah.
same.
I mean,
it's just
Greek
Roman.
mythology.
Exactly. Yeah.
That has always been my favorite Greek mythology.
Oh,
so.
I was super into mythology actually growing up. Yeah.
Very cool.
So this bar is now in the hotel. It's called the King Neptune Lounge.
Nice.
And, so other than the bar was added at one point, but originally as going back, it began as this general store, and eventually was even used as a post office as well.
Okay.
So it was built by Major Parsons as a Parson and Hale's General Store. Was owned by Langston Parsons and let me see if I'll check my notes. Preston Hale, was it? I'm sorry, Francis Hale. Francis Hale and Langston Parsons.
Where did you find your references, by the way?
I actually there's a lot of information about this hotel, but there is a website. About the actual hotel website has a lot of good stories, and then a website about ghost stories specifically
Very
from
cool.
this island hotel and restaurant. And then I found information even in the Washington Post. I found information,
neat.
And then I went
That's very
and
cool.
saw a couple of YouTube videos of things that they've done there, and watched interviews with the people working there at the hotel right now.
That's
talking
super
about
cool.
it. But yeah,
All
it's
right.
and I'm gonna talk about this a little bit later, but I will say this, and I'm gonna preface what we're gonna get into later just by saying that I read countless Yelp reviews and TripAdvisor reviews, and all of these views just from people who were staying at the hotel as guests. Not going there because of any stories of the paranormal, not going there because it's known to be one of the haunted hotels. They were just going for a nice vacation. And I found more instances of people discovering the haunted paranormal nature of this place than I could believe. It's just over and over. You hear accounts and read accounts and reviews of people saying, I just went to stay at this hotel and then I found out it was haunted and all of this stuff happened to me. And
already I'm getting chills, and we haven't even gone into it.
And that's
Wow.
exactly. So, but getting back, all right. So this this is built as Parson and Hale's General Store.
Okay.
And now during the Civil War, this island, island Cedar Key played a vital role in the Civil War. Why? Because the Confederate blockade runners used Cedar Key to export cotton and lumber, and they imported badly needed food and supplies for their troops. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So now, at one point during the Civil War, the Union soldiers burned down almost every building in Cedar Key.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Wow, that's so sad.
It was sad. It was a part of the Civil War, and but they burned down all these buildings. But the one building that they kept standing was this Parson and Hale's General Store.
Oh, interesting.
They used that hotel as officer quarters and as a warehouse to store supplies and such.
All right.
Now,
they got to keep something.
Yeah, you got to keep something, and
Right.
so they kept that up and kept it kind of as a base at this very important point, military entry point.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
so
So
the
it's
Union
almost like
soldiers-
their fort.
Exactly.
In a sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
Turn this place into that. Now, toward the end of the Civil War, the Confederacy actually took over the place again.
Wow.
They took the place back, retook the town. Officers of the Southern Army, they stayed over at the hotel, and they kind of made that their home. For a while.
Okay. Wow.
A lot of history at this place, dealing with the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So, after the Civil War ends, this store becomes used as a post office as well. As I mentioned, it became used as a post office, and it's still a very important building in the town. Now, in 1896, this major hurricane severely damaged the town and the store.
Wow.
They had to work hard to rebuild it. Francis Hale, one of the original owners, he died at this point, and so in 1914, Langdon Parsons sells the building to Simon Feinberg. Now, this name is going to become important to our story because, while there's a lot of history to this hotel, and there's even not a lot of details, but there is a true crime story at the heart of this
I love it.
hotel. And that name, Simon Feinberg, he purchased the purchased the store, in 1914.
Oh, 1914. Okay, so it's a little closer to now.
Right, a little closer to now. And at that point, Simon Feinberg was the one to turn the Island Hotel turn this general store, the Parson and Hale's general store, into the Bay Hotel. That's the first time it's
okay, so it's no longer a post office,
right.
it's now a hotel.
Right, exactly.
Okay, the Bay Hotel.
The Bay Hotel. Now, the Bay Hotel was managed by a man named Markham, the mysterious Markham. Yes. And now Markham, he's managing the hotel, the Bay Hotel. And what does he decide to do by all accounts? Put a distillery up in the hotel and start. Because this is, we're getting into like prohibition times here. Yeah. So...
is he brewing alcohol in the bathtub and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. He's
nice.
But he tries to keep it out of where most people would see, so he puts it in the attic.
Of course.
Puts it in the attic. Puts this distillery, and he starts, brewing or distilling liquor.
Yeah, sure.
At this illegal liquor still in the attic, and Markham's making a little extra on the side,
paving the way.
Mm-hmm. And. Now, Feinberg was pretty religious, and he did not believe in consumption of alcohol. And
well, I mean, as you do when you're super religious,
right? Exactly. So this was completely against his religious upbringing, and so Feinberg himself, he would not have been happy about this liquor being made up in the attic of the place that he owns, of the Bay Hotel that he owns. And so he eventually got little word of this, and he asks to meet Mr. Markham. He says, okay, let's get together. We want a meeting just to talk about some problems. Now that's
you never want to hear that from your boss.
not a good thing.
You might be getting fired, just saying. Oh
yeah, exactly. I mean, I hate that. That's terrible.
That's the worst.
That's like talk about some problems.
That's like your girlfriend saying, we need to talk.
Exactly. That is.
What could we possibly need to talk about?
No, tell me. Just give me the bad news. So, but Mr. Markham, he says, why don't we talk? Let's have dinner together. Mm-hmm. Let's arrange a little dinner, and we can discuss these problems that you have. So Markham arranges a dinner meeting with Feinberg, and now they start talking about the problems with this liquor still. They discuss the issues at hand.
You will get arrested because it's prohibition.
Markham professes his innocence.
Of course.
Markham professes his innocence. And so Markham professes his innocence. Dinner ends. Feinberg retires for the night, goes to sleep. And he never wakes up.
Oh, no.
Yes.
What happened?
Feinberg died of food poisoning.
Arsenic?
Food poisoning.
Oh.
Yes. Mr. Feinberg died of food poisoning. Now this is something that from this time period and from the records there is widespread suspicion that Markham was responsible and that this was a murder, a poisoning death for his boss, Mr. Feinberg.
Yeah.
But there is not a lot more than that. Then we have the facts of, he died the next day, and we have the facts of the fact that, he died of food poisoning.
See, that's very interesting.
But yeah, there wasn't a big trial, wasn't a big court case or anything, but this is,
weird.
There's a long-held belief that Markham
killed him. Okay,
yeah.
Wow. And that's very interesting because if it's some sort of food poisoning that he died from, usually that means it was actually poisoned, like arsenic or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's also the way that that police and inspectors, detectives, whatever, claim that women kill people
exactly.
is because it's slow and methodical it's
There's not a lot
invasive.
of, yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of violent conflict. It's a very sneaky. But
that's usually the way that women do
Right.
things, because men are the more violent types, where they will
Right.
take a hatchet to your head or
But,
a gun to shoot you.
Exactly.
I mean,
right.
it's violence.
We've had a lot of stories of that.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
is,
But that's wow.
Yeah,
Some people
so-
just can't hold their arsenic.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, there's this little true crime story, plays in the history of the hotel, but there's not much more to say about it than that, because there was no, proof or investigation at that time.
That's crazy.
No. So the Bay Hotel becomes the Cedar Key Hotel in the 1920s, and then it goes on to become Fowler's Wood in the 1930s.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
Yeah, and now there's a lot more history during this time period, because we're hitting the Depression and all of that.
Of course.
This time in history, and the hotel nearly burned to the ground. It was being used at the time as both a speakeasy,
Of course.
and a brothel.
Oh, there we go.
Speakeasy and a brothel.
Heyo.
There's so much stuff that's been going on here. We've been, used as a military fort during the Civil War. And,
Well, I mean, already with that, people have died on the property.
Exactly. And
There's trauma already.
there's a lot of stuff going on there. And, now you're talking about a speakeasy, and the kinds of things that went on during, at a speakeasy during these times, and a brothel. I mean,
And the owner of the place dying from quote unquote food poisoning.
Exactly. Hotel nearly burns to the ground during this time period where it's being used as the speakeasy, but it still stands. The structure stands, but it becomes like just about unlivable. Can't be used as
Sure, of course.
And so during this, let's place it time wise at about like the World War II era.
All
Hotel
right.
was pretty much unlivable.
Oof. Wow. Okay.
So
do we know how the fire started?
we do not, other than it was during the time of this speakeasy, and
Okay, so
could have
possibly
been, something to do with
blew
that.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my speculation.
There it is. Okay.
Alcohol blowing up. And
That's.
There we
I
go.
think that's what I'm saying. Yes, sounds good.
that
to me.
makes sense.
So around 1946, while the hotel at this point is like completely unlivable, can't be used for
Wow.
guests, Bessie and Loyal Gibbs, they bought the hotel and they decided to restore it. They not only bought it, but they put their money in to pick this place back up, restore it, and they renamed it the Island Hotel.
Okay, so they were the ones to coin the name.
Exactly.
Also, that name Loyal, is that what you said?
Yeah.
like
Loyal.
that.
I like that.
Loyal.
Gibbs.
I
Yeah.
like it. It's
cool.
very cool. Gibbs. Gibbs
Loyal.
reminds me of NCIS.
Oh.
Gibbs. He's my favorite, by the way. Anyway, keep going.
Got this. This Island Hotel becomes a popular hangout for celebrities and all kinds of characters in the region at the time. Pearl Buck, Tennessee Ernie Williams.
Any mafia guys like Al Capone?
Well, this is a little bit later. This is like
right, okay.
this is like a little bit post World War II. So,
Okay, so he's probably already in
probably
jail by this
then,
time.
yeah.
We'll cover his story too.
Exactly. Oh, good. I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. And so this becomes a pretty popular place at this time, and it's growing in fame. And so around 1950, Hurricane Easy just blasted Cedar Key, Florida, and it blasted the Island Hotel. Major, actually at this point, I mentioned before the roof had been damaged different times.
Right.
This Hurricane Easy nearly blew the roof off the hotel.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And so there was major remodeling required to even make the building usable again.
As long as the roof was not on fire.
Exactly.
The roof is on fire. Sorry, we had to. Be patient with us.
No. Okay, Loyal Gibbs, the wonderfully named Loyal Gibbs dies in 1962.
More trauma.
More trauma there.
And how did he die?
Just natural causes.
Okay.
But Bessie Gibbs continues to operate the hotel until that she retires from the hotel in around 1973.
Okay. Wow, that's a good long time, huh?
Right. And
That's
Bessie
awesome.
died 2 years later in a house fire at her small cottage in Cedar Key.
Oh, no.
Now she died there in a house fire. Little bit
Okay,
of
okay.
trauma.
There's some trauma
to that
there.
kind of death. And then you look at the fact that she was at this island hotel. She was at this place around 26 years.
Yeah,
that she
and
spent around this place.
that might have been one of the
That's-
happiest places
Exactly.
that she spent here on Earth. So
Exactly.
she
Which
could be.
will- yeah.
She could be there.
Yeah, it'll factor in. We'll get into that shortly. Bessie Gibbs dies, but the hotel continues on, and it becomes really, really a well-known, famous spot here in Cedar Key, Florida. Even Jimmy Buffett performed there.
Nice.
Jimmy Buffett fans
yeah.
out there. Jimmy Buffett performed in the Neptune Lounge, King Neptune Lounge, on
He
the balcony.
still performs in Vegas, as far as I know,
Yeah,
or
that's right.
has
Yeah,
for a long
it
time. Is he gone yet? I don't know.
Jimmy,
Jimmy, are you
Jimmy,
here?
with us? In the late 1980s, one owner, Marcia Rogers, she converted this King Neptune Lounge into a juice bar.
Huh.
This did not go over well, and this is just another little
I would imagine
interesting
not.
tidbit from history. But yeah, so we've got these in the 80s. I've bought this wonderful island hotel. Everybody loves the King Neptune Lounge bar, and she turned it into a juice bar, and the town went crazy. They burn her in effigy. Out in the town square, they take a likeness of her and burn the likeness of her.
That's so mean.
But
also, wheatgrass is terrible. So gross.
terrible, gross. We don't
If
need
you
a
like
bar
it,
for
I'm
that.
sorry. I'm not putting you down for liking it, but I don't like it. It's. bleh.
And this, so the public reaction to this, the public outcry,
Visceral. It
Yes.
sounds like.
Indeed, and it brings it back to being a bar, and now
Nice.
it exists as a bar in this hotel
As
where
it
you can
should.
still stay. You can still stay in the rooms of the Island Hotel. And hotel staff and local patrons insist that the hotel really is haunted. And
Whoa.
it is said that there are at least 13 bona fide spirits, ghosts, living, residing, and haunting this place right now. And we'll get into that a little bit after our break. Thank you for tuning into the Graveyard Shift. We'll be taking a short break, so get off the treadmill, park your car, or just grab a cup of coffee during this brief intermission.
You can visit us at thegraveyardshhift.com.
With 2 H's.
Also, you can view our videos on YouTube
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
and email us at thegraveyardshhift@gmail.com.
Also with 2 H's.
And now, back to our program.
All right, welcome back to the Graveyard Shift, and we're talking about the Island Hotel in Cedar Key, Florida.
That's amazing. This place sounds amazing. It sounds beautiful. I love hearing all the history about it.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
my God.
It's really fantastic, and checking out pictures of the rooms online. You can check it out. It's
And we are showing them.
yeah,
as-
absolutely. There
as
you
we're
go.
on YouTube.
That's right. And those, it's a nice place, and a very quaint little bit old school to my eye, and as of 2014, I was reading that they had no televisions or telephones in any of the rooms. They have
Whoa.
Wi-Fi available, but they had no televisions, no telephones in any of the rooms. I don't know if that's changed in the last couple of years, but I know at least as up to that point,
Okay.
they just kept things very old school.
Okay. So are the rooms vintage looking too?
Yeah, and each
That's
one
cool.
has its own little flavor, its own little flair,
That's
as opposed to
awesome.
being one of these places with uniform rooms where everything looks the same.
But they have some sort of theme going on with
exactly.
them. That's so cool. I want to go now.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah. We're going to be doing so many of the location
We have
shoots,
to.
and I'm this is one place after reading about it. I cannot wait to.
So now
check
you're
out.
all
Yeah.
in for
Oh,
Florida.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there are other places in Florida that are super haunted too. So we're going to have to.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
I mean, we're
we're-
just going to have to make a trip out of it and possibly do a
absolutely.
live show maybe. I don't know.
Yes. and now I take back everything bad I ever said about Florida. I love it, and I can't wait to go Visit Florida. Okay.
Yes.
So we're talking about everybody says that there are numerous ghosts that have been repeatedly seen at the Island Hotel.
And this is the staff.
This is the staff, guests, other people, just
Any patrons
anybody at the hotel. Yeah, patrons at the hotel. That,
okay. In the bar area or whatever.
Yeah, and people continue to, and it's mostly it's mostly on one floor of the hotel. But
really?
But it is, there are, but it's not just on the one floor. And there are, I'll go through now some of the different spirits that have been seen, or apparitions that have been seen there.
Okay.
Ghosts that people believe are haunting the place, and they relate to specific stories from the long history of this building.
Okay.
So. Now, the first one that you'll hear about, there is the ghost of this small boy. Who has often been seen. He's they say he's about 9 years old, and he died before the end of the Civil War.
Okay. Do we know his name?
We don't know his name.
What is his story?
But I will tell you the story.
Okay.
It's interesting. There's like,
is there? Okay.
I nowhere did I see any name for him, but there is a story that has been passed down, through history.
That's crazy.
About who he is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
I'm surprised that there's no records of what this boy's name might be, if they have a story behind it.
Well, because when I say he died, they didn't find out about his death right away, but I'll get into that. And once they found out about it, he was a small African American boy, 9 years old,
of course,
and this is right around Civil War times, and all they really know about him was that he was working. He was hired when this place was a general store and a post office, and he was hired to sweep up, clean up a little bit and help the manager. 9-year-old kid.
Okay.
So he was hired to sweep up, help around the property. And apparently, so the story goes, the manager at the time spotted this little boy putting something into his pocket,
oh no,
pilfering a little item.
Wait. Yeah. So to go back, is he a slave or was he just hired?
He was hired at this point. I don't know what his wage was at the time.
Probably pennies.
Probably pennies. But but he was at this moment in time, he was just brought in to work for.
Oh wow! Okay.
And
so he was caught stealing.
Yeah, he was caught stealing by the manager, putting something into his pocket. And so, way the story goes. There's a lot of legends, a lot of stories that have been passed on without a lot of records and evidence to back it up. But you'll find this story in a wide variety of sources. So,
okay, good.
But this little boy puts something in his pocket. The manager chases him out the back door of the store.
Okay,
chasing this kid, and the boy runs and hides and disappears, and gets away from the manager, and the boy is never seen or heard from again.
What?
Yeah.
So he wasn't. I feel dumbfounded right now.
I know because you're. I mean, I don't know if your immediate thought, but my immediate thought. Oh wait, did the manager do something to him?
Yeah.
What's going on?
But if you run and hide, did you fall into a hole?
Yeah. Well,
was there one of those bear trap things?
Well, about a year later. I'm glad you asked.
Oh.
Because I'll give you an answer to this one.
I'm a smarty.
Yes. About a year later, they're cleaning out this basement water cistern. It's about about 5 feet deep, 2,500 gallon stone cement
like a well
tank,
or
kind
something.
Of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they're cleaning that thing out, and the workers discover the skeletal remains of a child. This 9-year-old little boy.
I got a weird chill when you started to say that. Gross.
Now, the belief is that when he was running and hiding from the manager for being caught stealing, I don't know why I put that in quotes, but being caught stealing because there's no real proof of it. Maybe.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Anyway, but the story goes he was caught stealing. Manager chases him. Little boy hides.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And it said that the boy that he climbed into this water tank type structure, and he was just hiding from him there, and that he drowned there.
Oh well, yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, that's the story. He drowned in this water cistern, hiding from the manager, And this basement is accessible through a trap door in the back of the hotel.
Oh, interesting.
And that it's dark, and a lot of people say that you feel like dark, eerie forces when you go down.
Of course, it's a basement. You're gonna feel something weird and scary.
Exactly.
It's just creepy.
Uneven floors, low beams, all this stuff, and then this, in this basement, it is said that the ghost of this scared little boy hides.
Oh.
And he's been seen by a number of people, and during the accounts that I read from different people, we talk about all the different ghosts that are believed to be at this hotel. People really do encounter different ones while they're there, different ones based on where they are in the hotel, what room, in the attic, in the basement, all this stuff.
That's interesting. Okay.
And this little boy is said to, his ghost is said to haunt the basement of the hotel.
That would make sense if the cistern was downstairs in the basement and that's where he was hiding.
Yeah, and drowning is
traumatic.
Yeah.
That's traumatic.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So to take you through some of the other ghosts that are believed to be at the island hotel, there's a Southern Army private soldier who is said to stand guard on the second floor. And
nice.
And I've read people just a couple of years ago or just recently that have been staying at this place, and they have described seeing being just frozen by seeing this soldier standing at attention and then just fading, just disappearing, the apparition just disappearing. And
I love it when they just dissolve like that. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, exactly, right? And this guy, they say like more people have seen this one than anybody else.
Well, I bet.
Yeah, it's and the funny thing is I've heard, we'll get into a couple of the others, but I've heard numerous accounts of people seeing each of these different apparitions, the different spirits, different ghosts. But this one, supposedly, this is the one that has been seen the most. This Southern Army soldier, and it seems every morning, just as the sun begins to rise, that guests can see what appears to be this soldier standing guard at attention just inside the doors leading to the balcony. Oh. And the vision lasts just a few seconds before he dissolves. But it's been seen, this apparition has been seen by literally dozens and dozens of guests over the years. So.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so I was reading this story about this woman that was there staying at the hotel, and she said that she saw the apparition of a floating bearded head that came by through her room. And, she was startled and taken aback, and did a little bit of investigating as to, the history of the hotel and who this might be.
Okay.
And found pictures that she said looked just like the apparition she saw. Pictures of
Feinberg.
Yep, you got Simon Feinberg.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Oh, excellent. I'm
putting the pieces together.
You got some. You know what you're doing here. Simon Feinberg, the ghost of Simon Feinberg. Now the story, as we know, the story is that it's believed he might have been poisoned by the hotel owner, by the hotel manager rather, at the time. And he is said to be a wandering ghost that appears throughout the hotel.
It's his place.
Yeah, exactly.
He should be wandering. He's checking up on everything and everybody.
Exactly.
Are you having a good time?
Yeah. And like any good owner
Can I get
should.
you anything? How about a head with a beard?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but if I saw, this apparition of the soldier standing there at attention, I would be startled, taken aback.
Sure.
But it would freak me out a lot less than the floating bearded head
bodiless.
Through my room.
Yeah. Absolutely. Disembodied heads with beards.
Exactly.
Kind of would freak
Big
me out
fuzzy
too.
beard. That's right. Yeah. And so Feinberg, he's wanders around the hotel at night. His ghost wanders around the hotel, especially at night, and he appears briefly and he startles guests and staff.
I bet he does.
Seriously, but he is nobody's described him or these other ghosts as having been negative. Scary, dark forces, dark energies. He is said to seem to be harmless.
Yeah.
At least if your name is not Markham.
Well, God, I hope
Exactly.
not many people are named Markham
Exactly.
that go visit that hotel.
Yes, and so he may be like a traumatic death, maybe by murder it seems,
Well.
but at least from accounts that I've read, he's not
He's
said
not
to
an
be this-
angry spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Not
That's
terribly
good.
dark. But
That is good.
now there is a ghost who visits people in the room staying in room 27 and room 28.
Is it one ghost that visits both
One
these rooms?
specific ghost that visits both of these rooms.
Betty.
And now
Oh.
this ghost. Not yet. But I will say.
Okay.
But this ghost, well, you may just find yourself. I'm going to tell you this little story that I read about this woman who was
it is a woman.
staying there. Yeah. Well, this woman was staying with her husband in the room.
Okay.
And she woke up in the middle of the night and she saw her husband across the room. And her husband was making out with, well, I don't know if that might be taking it a little far, but her husband was being kissed and caressed and in the loving embrace in the dark of who he thought was his wife, but was reacting to these kisses on his neck and being caressed and held. And
that's weird.
And then he opened his eyes and he saw his wife across the room and he's like, who is kissing me right now? And she
Right?
said, it's not me. She was frozen in terror. And it seems this is not the only instance of this happening. I'm over here. What are you doing? And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this particular spirit that seems to be haunting room 27 and 28 in just a moment. Is it time for another break? Are we ready for another break?
Yeah,
let's
I
take
think we're
another
ready for break.
All right. Thank you for tuning into the Graveyard Shift. We'll be taking a short break, so get off the treadmill, park your car, or just grab a cup of coffee during this brief intermission.
You can visit us at thegraveyardshhift.com.
With 2 H's.
Also, you can view our videos on YouTube
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
and email us at thegraveyardshhift@gmail.com.
Also with 2 H's.
And now, back to our program.
All right, welcome back to the Graveyard Shift. Nicolette, have you ever, like, I know you've had your particular encounters with spirits, with ghosts, with forces of the paranormal. Have you ever been kissed on the neck or kissed on the cheek?
No, but I felt like I was being felt up before.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. See?
There's something. I mean, they call those incubuses, I think.
Yeah. That's
When it's
exactly
or
that's right, yeah.
as far as like a
Yeah.
spirit attacking a man in that way, it's
Right.
a succubus.
Succubus, yeah. And so there's this, like, we were talking about the Island Hotel in Cedar Key, Florida, and I was telling you before the break about this spirit that is said to haunt rooms 27, 28.
Yeah.
And this story of this man that, was being kissed and caressed. And apparently this is something that happens frequently to guests staying in one of these rooms.
Oh, I'm remembering something that you told me before. So, okay, continue.
Yes. This place. And I know just
Putting pieces together.
Exactly.
It's one of the ladies of the night.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. I love working with you because you're so smart. You just get it.
I love puzzles, and this is like
Yes.
this is the best kind of puzzle because I'm like,
when a place has been
this is
around for so long. There's so much history to it, and then you start to put the pieces together because this spirit from room 27 to 28 is said to be the spirit of a murdered prostitute from the days that this was a brothel. Now, this is an undocumented event, as many of these stories of this place are, but it occurred during the Prohibition times when the hotel was a speakeasy and brothel.
Well, they wouldn't document that because it's a speakeasy, guys, and a brothel.
This would be swept under the rug.
Oh, absolutely.
But stories like these, get passed down from these times, and everybody kind of knows. Everybody knows. Yeah, exactly. And
otherwise, we wouldn't have these stories.
We'd
We'd
have
be
these
going,
great stories.
why, how, and what?
Yeah, and this the story goes, it's been passed down. Legend has it, that this prostitute was murdered there at the brothel, which is not a stretch to believe.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I mean,
unfortunately,
when you're dealing in sex work, as I have never done. Thank God, I would be dead by now. Yes. No, but usually when women were working in sex work back in the days, in the old days, of like Deadwood and things like that, yes, they would come up murdered because they wouldn't give the Johns what they wanted.
Exactly. And, and the Johns would feel like there wouldn't be a consequence to doing this. And a lot of them were really bad people that were,
nobody would miss those
exactly.
girls.
Yeah, but in spite of this story of the murder, this this ghost of this former prostitute is said to be really nice, really sweet, friendly, a little bit demure, a little bit shy.
Of course.
And it's said that, one of the things she does is she just sits on the beds with these guests and kisses people on the cheeks and disappears in like a smoky haze.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So,
That's so nice.
And again, like you hear all these stories and there are really no stories of anything, terrifying other than just the startling shock of,
somebody sitting on your bed.
Exactly.
But there's an impression on my bed and I see no one. That's really weird.
And now I feel someone kissing me.
That's strange.
Yeah. But it really does. It makes me want to visit because it just seems like, there are a lot of interesting things happening at this place.
The experiences sound very cool.
Yeah. Now,
Don't take Lisa. No, I'm kidding. No. I'm kidding, Lisa. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
There are sightings. Getting back to the news, there are sightings of the more recently departed Bessie Gibbs.
Okay.
And remember, as I said before, before the break, we talked about it. She had lived here for 26 years.
Yeah.
26 years. Didn't die here, but
right. But it was probably one of her happiest places to be.
Exactly. And she put all that work into it, renovated it, brought it back from the brink of disaster, and created this successful hotel and business. And she's said to have been seen many times at the hotel, moving around, rearranging the hotel furniture.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I'm sorry, this is not where I wanted it to be, so I'm just going to move it over here now.
Exactly. And then the picture's not straight on the wall.
Oh, let me just rearrange that.
Closing doors.
That's fun.
And oh man, and I wanted to say this before. We were talking with our producer off camera before, Robin, your husband.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me just say that this is like one of her favorite tricks. Bessie is to lock guests out of the room.
That's
they step out of the room for a minute.
No.
She locks the door, and then they're like, "Wait, what? I just had this.
I was just here."
And I mean,
that's so funny.
And you just had a close experience with something similar happening.
Yes. Well, so I guess I'll tell the story. So Robin, my husband, our producer, was up at his parents' house, and he went into the hot tub, as you do when you're by yourself. I'm not going to say. And we're FaceTiming and we're talking, and he's got his cappuccino. No, his coffee. He had coffee, whatever. So he's sitting out there. He's enjoying himself, and he's almost getting ready to hop back on the flight. This is
Christmas, right?
This is Christmas. Yeah, Christmas Day. He's getting ready to hop back on a flight, get a lift to go to the airport, and he doesn't have much time in between. So he goes, "Okay, I think I'm done. I'm going to go get ready to start going." And I go, "Okay," and I hang up the phone with him, and he goes to the door, and the door is locked. Now, this sliding glass door at his parents' house cannot lock unless someone pushes the lever down.
Smart as he is, he took a video to document this door, and this is not a door that you could slam and then it accidentally locks on its own. There's no way whatsoever.
You got to put pressure on it.
If the thing was already locked, it wouldn't have closed all the way. Yeah.
You have to put pressure on it. And we will actually put these two videos up.
We definitely have to,
on our Instagram and probably on our YouTube channel as well, because it's just so weird.
It is really weird. And I just, I heard that story today, and I knew we were going to get into this today.
Yeah.
And that was just one thing that clicked with me, because I just read about the ghost of Bessie, who is
funny.
Known for like, "Oh, you just stepped out of the room, I'm going to lock the door and just mess with you." And like playfully, but like
ghosts
tricks
like that. That's so funny.
And so many people have described the spirit of Bessie Gibbs, having seen her apparition, and this Bessie. Those who have known her, because this is in more recent history, she's didn't die that long ago,
right?
And
So people still know of her.
People know of her, and
Wow.
they know what her personality was like.
Oh, sure.
And she was known to be this playful, giggling,
Nice.
charismatic character. Full of jokes and having a good time.
Full of life.
Full of
as
life.
it were.
And
Even though
so
she's
it is.
not so alive anymore.
Exactly. But this her spirit is said to have that same manner, that
Vivacious
same
personality. Nice. Okay.
Exactly.
I like people like that. I hope I am that way.
Yeah.
When I pass on.
Exactly. Seriously, that would be
That would be fun.
That would be nice.
I'd like to play some tricks on people and go haunt some people.
Exactly. And just these just harmless little jokes, and those that have seen her said, "Oh, she's giggling, she's laughing, everything just seems like, quite a character." And now I will tell you that a séance was once held in the hotel.
Fun.
And they wanted to conjure up the spirit of Bessie Gibbs.
Okay.
So, they have this little seance, and some things happen, and they're okay. There's not not a lot of records of scientific evidence of them encountering something, but
okay.
Those results of the people that held this, the results that they said that they concluded that yes, Bessie Gibbs
she is actually there.
Here. This is happening. That her spirit is haunting this hotel.
Do you know what year that they did the seance?
So they hold the seance to conjure up Bessie's spirit, and the psychic investigators there, the people holding the seance, concluded that yes, her spirit was absolutely here, and not only that, but they're the ones that named that number of 13 ghosts that are. They're haunting.
And this was like in the 1990s or something
exactly.
like that.
This is modern, for recent times, fairly, but the last 30 years or so. Yeah.
Back in the
no
1900s,
no,
where they were tapping on tables and moving
right.
tables.
No, nothing like that. This is
throw
recent...
some ectoplasm cheesecloth at you. I love how they
I know, right?
fuck with people.
So much easier to do back then.
Yes. Thanks, Fox Sisters.
Yeah. Well, so this they said that this hotel is a portal that attracts ghosts and spirits.
Nice. Okay.
And so there's that was
a few places like that.
Yeah, we've talked about a few. So there's been evidence in addition to these ghosts that I've described already that there are number of other spirits that have been seen there. Two Native Americans that
of course
have been seen there frequently.
Okay.
There's a fisherman that fisherman's gear that's been seen there before, and then
was
another
it Hemingway? I'm just kidding. Oh.
Well, do you
trying
to Florida?
I don't know. It's trying to catch that marlin though.
Yes, exactly. And then the tall man. Don't say the tall man. That'll get me thinking of like Phantasm. You ever see that?
God! No.
The unidentified tall man, the tall thin man.
Oof. Well, that makes me think about Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yeah,
did you see that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, the Hat Man.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Get your bowler hat away from
there
me.
There should be a picture of like,
I know.
No, so yeah, there have been all these other spirits that have been seen and known to be there, and that this idea that Bessie's room. Mm-hmm. That she used to stay at,
which is now the portal room.
That's the portal room.
Okay.
That's the portal room for all these ghosts and apparitions, and
very nice.
And so that that's. What have people seen there besides actual, physical representations, actual apparitions?
Right.
They've seen lights going on and off, pictures moving, doors opening and closing, doors locking.
Wow.
And then just the frequent sightings of these numerous interesting ghosts with tremendous backstories if you know the history of the hotel.
Wow. That's amazing.
And, like the reviews again that I read, throughout numerous travel sites that are just reviewing the hotel as a hotel, just countless accounts of people saying, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea what I was in for when I went to stay here, and now I know, and it's haunted." And some people are like, "I can't wait to go back." Some people are like, really nice to have been there, but I'm never ever stepping foot in the place again.
To be honest, I think that is the best because you're going there and you're not expecting things like that to happen.
Yeah.
You may or may not be a skeptic at that point.
Right.
You may believe, who knows, but you weren't expecting to go and have these experiences.
Exactly.
But you do.
Yeah.
That's the best.
And that's awesome. And sometimes, the staff there at the hotel will, slip word to people, oh yeah, by the way, or, they'll hear in the bar, oh, did you know this place was haunted? And, and then,
oh my God,
like,
oh
yeah, right. And then, they wake up to a kiss on the cheek or a soldier standing at attention, it's.
Well, I mean, if you're a guy and you're staying in one of those rooms by yourself and you feel a kiss on your cheek, ooh.
it's kind of sexy.
Slipped in.
I don't know. But yeah, everybody says that, even those that haven't seen anything, say, I felt like I was being watched or followed. That there's, there are unexplained breezes and things. But so this place, frequently shows up on the lists of which there are many of the top most haunted places in America, most haunted hotels in the U.S. And I will say from everything I read, man, I can't wait to check it out sometime.
Yeah.
But so that is your little window into the Island Hotel and Restaurant in Florida, and thank you for being with us today.
Off the Florida Keys.
The Florida Keys.
There's a paranormal place.
Really?
That was my fun little parody. Well, anyway, thank you guys so much.
A long time. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sean.
And I'm Nicolette.
And this is the Graveyard Shhift.
See you next time. See you in the graveyard.